Much story we're following at 5. Coffee workers, the baristas at both Sunergos Coffee in Louisville and Kentuckiana Starbucks locations are striking today. They're calling for a living wage and a higher quality of life for union workers. Grace McKenna was at today's rally and picket and tells us why this is just one example of a much bigger picture for Louisville.
The labor movement hit Louisville's coffee scene months ago, but since then, baristas at Sunergos say negotiations on their contract have sort of stalled out. That's why they're holding this one-day strike to shut down locations like this one on 5th Street. Some Kentuckiana coffee shop doors are closed Monday as baristas from Sunergos and Starbucks in the middle of union contract negotiations call out those companies.
This felt like the next best tactic because meeting at the table clearly wasn't working.
The baristas say negotiations have stalled. Some from Sunergos we spoke with want a raise, saying the $8.25 plus tips many make isn't a living wage.
And I can't survive off of the $5 a day I get.
In recent weeks, union talks at UPS have been at the forefront in Louisville, but union movements among service industry workers are spreading. Professor Ariana Levinson with U of L says that's because of a number of factors, from the pandemic to inflation to the workforce.
You're getting Gen Z into the workforce now, and they're a lot less willing to just spend their entire time working and just, making ends meet.
Levinson says within a business, higher unionization rates can impact even non-union workers, and the same principle applies when union efforts spread across companies.
Once you get to a certain tipping point, you have enough people unionized, then that means that all the boats are rising.
She says that's perhaps why Monday we saw baristas from across Kentuckiana and across different chains come together.
Because we haven't gotten very far in the process, and we've been met with a lot of resistance and unwillingness to negotiate.
We reached out to both companies today. Sunergos declined to comment, but Starbucks sent us a statement, writing in part, Starbucks is committed to progress negotiations towards a first contract. It goes on to say union reps have, quote, consistently failed to show up for our partners despite the repeated claims and escalating publicity stunts. Coffee is part of the daily routine, and these workers say they are too.
We should be able to have families and lives and be able to pay for that.
So on the picket line, they're taking it one day at a time. In Louisville, Grace McKenna, WHAS 11, on your side.
Sunergos did tell us that some of its stores were open today.